It's been a little bit, but we're back on track. Going to be talking about audiobooks again. And of course, today I want to talk a bit more about making more money with audiobooks because it is possible. There is a few things that we can put in place that will definitely increase our odds of making a bit more revenue from one specific asset. So we're going to discuss 10 ways to make more money publishing audiobooks. Make sure you stay tuned to today's podcast.
Learn how to publish books and build your author business with award-winning author and self-publishing consultant Dale L. Roberts. This is the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast.
And of course, a big shout out to the fine folks over at Dibbly Create. Discover Dibbly Create, your ultimate project partner designed to supercharge your creative journey. In the fast-paced world of productivity, your projects need an edge. Dibbly Create is here to give you that edge. First, experience seamless collaboration with your team in real time. No more messy email chains, lost ideas, or version control chaos. Dibbly Create makes teamwork effortless. Second, meet Kip, your AI-powered sidekick. Kip is more than just a smart assistant, it's a game changer. Find out more details when you visit dalelinks.com/Dibbly Create. You can set yourself up a free or premium account access on over there. Again, big shout out to Dibbly Create, dalelinks.com/Dibbly Create. I've been using it for the past few months and it is an integral part of my whole workflow. In fact, even how I produce these podcast episodes, it's done through the power of Dibbly Create. So go check them out. All right, well, you know what? Today is going to be super simple. It's going to be a listicle of sorts. So you can probably sit down, just take some notes and figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Beyond that, though, just remember, it's not limited to these things. You might find other ways you can drive revenue with your audiobook. So don't think that this is the gospel and the only thing that you can follow in order to make more money in publishing audiobooks. The very first one we're going to start out with number 1, a downloadable PDF. Now, this should be used by all authors. Should be all authors, fiction, nonfiction. Make sure that you have this here. What you're going to do is create a call to action at the beginning of the book. So you're going to hire a narrator, or if you're doing it yourself, you're going to go and create almost like a pre-introduction chapter to where your call to action is just simple. If you'd like a little bit more resources, maybe it's a nonfiction book, go download my PDF at xyz.com. In some instances, if you're distributing through, say, Audible actually will hold on to downloadable PDFs for you. So all you have to do is just contact, I think, support at acx.com. Or if you happen to be doing it through something like Findaway Voices, they will host that for you. Now, I stress that you should probably host it yourself, because if you have that call to action in your audiobook, and let's say someone downloads it over at the library, then they don't have that resource to be downloaded. So I would say get it in yours and include all relevant links inside your downloadable PDF. Everything from your social media to your website to your blog, all that type of stuff should be included. Now, here's one option you can probably consider with the downloadable PDF. Use it as a one-time offer to subscribe to your email newsletter. Personally, I wouldn't put it there because I would rather just try to entice people to download the PDF and then ask them to join my email newsletter. But in the event that you're like, hey, you know what? I really don't want to just give this thing away for free. I want to collect their email addresses. That's definitely a way for you to go. Number 2, publish wide. I see a lot of authors that are just beholden to the almighty Audible and Amazon platforms. Yes, I will address it. They make a lot of revenue. They make a lot of sales. By going to that little area there, you are going to be getting a large amount of exposure. However, for the vast majority of authors that are trying to leverage the ACX platform, staying exclusive to them is probably hurting you in the long run, because if you want to reach more readers, then you're going to need to make sure you're going non-exclusive. Now, if for some reason you're pulling in $1,000 per month or more on a single audiobook, I'll shut up. I'll keep my mouth quiet. But maybe you should just entertain. If you're below that $1,000 mark per each one of those things, entertain going wide. Going wide would mean going non-exclusive with ACX. Yes, you're going to get lowered royalties, but you can also go to other platforms like Findaway Voices or Publish Drive, and you can reach other areas like libraries. And that's a big one for me. it's not a big one for you. I totally get it. But publishing wide sometimes means you're going to get a little bit more money and you're going to get a bit more reader reach. So, number 3. This one's a given. I'm going to preach this to the day I die. In fact, my CPA could probably even share with you how much I love affiliate marketing and how much it has impacted my life. Affiliate marketing links. Include affiliate marketing links in your downloadable PDF, of course, but inside your audiobook as well. So if you've got an email newsletter, sure, send people over towards that direction. But if there are related products or services that you can stand behind and really support and would like a little bit of a financial kickback, affiliate marketing is where it's at. Now, it's super simple in finding any type of affiliate marketing programs. I have found 90% of the time that whenever I want to share something, be it a brand, service, or product, they will have an affiliate program. All you have to do is just get on Google, search it on up. Affiliate marketing or affiliates links for whatever service. Just type that in with affiliate marketing and you will find something come back. I'd say 9 times out of 10. There are some platforms, though, that still don't do affiliate marketing because it is a lot to manage, to be honest, as far as that goes. But if they have that program, run with it and make sure that you're mentioning it throughout your audiobook. Now, if for some reason you're a fiction author, it probably doesn't make too much sense to be right in the middle of a chapter about werebear shapeshifters and all of a sudden you're like, hey, go check out this facial cream. It's one of my favorite things, xyz.com. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So make it make sense, get it to where it is relevant to the product or the thing that you are doing in your audiobook. So that way it makes sense. Hey, number 4, create an editor's cut. Now, this one's really kind of cool, and I don't see many people doing this. Now, an editor's cut would be something like, it could be a ton of extra, footage. It could be a ton of extra voice acting. It could be additional stuff that people wouldn't normally get through your normal audiobook. Now, I would say make this edition for self-fulfillment only. So that way you can collect pretty much all of the revenue, sans any payment processor fees and things like that. So would this work though for an exclusive audiobook through ACX? No. So just because you've added additional amount on there doesn't necessarily mean that it's a completely different audiobook. So if you're distributing that current audiobook as is in an exclusive agreement with ACX, then using an editor's cut probably won't work for you. But if you're doing non-exclusive, this is definitely something to consider. You can fulfill the audiobook distribution through places like PayHip or BookFunnel. Both of them are fantastic. It's fairly intuitive. I'll leave you to finding out just a little bit more details if you just search up each one of those. PayHip's probably one of my favorite ones so far. I haven't had the chance to experiment with BookFunnel just yet, but I'm sure it's just as good. All right, number 5, skip ACX. Go to the other distributors. Yes. All right, that seems like you're like, wait a second, you were kind of punched down in ACX already. I felt like there just needed to be an individual point on this one right here. If you are not getting rewarded or paid the way that you feel you should be, keeping yourself in non-exclusivity or in exclusivity is going to work against you. And here's the reason why. With ACX, they control the pricing. You do not control that pricing. The only way you can control that is if you start padding your audiobooks with a ton of filler content. Wouldn't recommend it. You're going to get a lot of really aggravated customers and listeners. The longer your audiobook is, the more ACX is going to charge for it. As far as other distributors like the Findaway Voices and Publish Drives of the world, you get to price it yourself. This means that you can make more revenue. Yes. So if you want to look into making more revenue for your audiobook, then you just might want to forgo ACX altogether. I wouldn't encourage you to do that if you are making a decent amount of revenue there already, but it's just something to bear in mind. And also, don't stuff your audiobooks. People don't like it. It's not a good look. Number 6, this one's a weird one. All right, hear me out on this one. Create audiobooks on CD. Yes. there are print-on-demand services still out there. You're going to need to make sure you research your options, especially since a lot of them, it's kind of like offset printing where you've got to order a giant bulk of them. Now, I did a little bit of research before I got on here and found there were some options that will do print-on-demand. But you're going to need to investigate that further. I used to use CreateSpace, and then later it went to Amazon's Media on Demand, but then they ended up sunsetting that program because it must have not had very much popularity. I don't know, but it's something worth considering is creating audiobooks on CD. Now, bear in mind that, again, if you are exclusive to ACX, you will not be able to distribute through a CD or a tape or anything else like that, the same audiobook recording that you have signed for an exclusive deal. So you could see having exclusivity, if it rewards you, fantastic, stay with it. But if it doesn't reward you, you may want to consider these other options. Number 7, create a video of the audiobook. Now, I've discussed this before here, where you would create a video with the audiobook, and you can just use your audiobook cover as like the video itself, and then you can distribute it to platforms like YouTube or Vimeo or any of those other ones. Now, the very first thing you can probably do is, if for some reason you don't want to give it away for free, because that essentially is what it comes down to, is you're distributing it through YouTube and you're going to get it for free. Hear me out for just a second. You're probably like, free? You just walked back from everything else you were just saying. 1, you can create 10% that you would upload to YouTube as a little bit of a teaser to entice that sale, and make sure that you're creating a call to action on the screen or even a verbal call to action to go and buy your book at xyz.com. Send them to the necessary areas. By the way, a little bit of an extra tip. I would recommend that you set up a books to read link, which is a universal book link, books to the number read.com. If you go over there, it's a service done by Drafted Digital, 100% free. Send people over towards that direction. You'll just need to make sure that you populate it with all of the locations that you have your audiobook at. All right, now let's just pretend that you decide you're going to distribute your entire audiobook on YouTube. Here's the reason why. Okay, if you are already in the YouTube Partner Program, you're going to be making 50% of ad revenue that is served on your audiobook. Probably one of the ways you can break up your audiobook is in between each chapter, slip in an ad. That would be a mid-roll ad. And you could get it to where you have, let's say, a 46 chapter audiobook. You've got ads put in between here. Now, don't stress. It doesn't mean that that ad's going to be served out each and every single time that people are listening to your audiobook. Because if someone has YouTube Premium, they won't hear it at all. There's no interruption whatsoever. Anybody that doesn't have the premium option are probably going to understand, since they're getting your audiobook for free. Now, in order to get the YouTube Partner Program, though, you need to have at least 500 subscribers on the base level, but you need to get up to the top level, which is 1,000 subscribers plus 4,000 watch time hours within 1 year in order to get qualified for something like that. It is something that worked really, really well for a good friend of mine, Nick Thacker. Nick actually created an AI narrated audiobook of one of his thriller books, posted on his YouTube channel, and with just that one audiobook, he got himself into the YouTube Partner Program, which means that all he took was just one video of an audiobook, and then he is now starting to drive revenue through YouTube. So it's a little bit of an indirect route, but it's also another way that you can make additional money. I've done it with some moderate success on my own podcast channel. So definitely proceed with caution, and let me know how that works out for you. Number 8, AI narration. Oh my goodness, this one's a really hot topic. I'm not telling you to replace any human narrators by any stretch, but if you find that you are strapped, if you don't have the funds to afford a human narrator, this is probably one of the ways you can go about it. Now, there are a number of AI narration services out there that come at a pretty decent cost, so maybe this is the way that you bootstrap your way to affording an actual human narrator. So it's something worth considering, and there are also free AI narration options through platforms like Google Play Books as well as Apple Books for Authors. So Apple will offer that as well, but they are very selective. I believe they're only working with fiction right now. Don't quote me on this one. definitely look into it. Number 9, crowdsourcing funds. Oh yes, I've talked about this, and actually previous guest here last week, I believe, was SD Houston. Shannon Houston shared just a little bit more details about getting herself successfully funded over on Kickstarter for her books. But she didn't do an audiobook. But a mutual friend of ours in Dana Claire actually was able to get her crowdfunding done through Kickstarter. Now, you're probably saying, but Dale, if they're just doing it through Kickstarter, they get paid there, then they're done. That's true. I can appreciate that argument, but think about it this way. It actually funds the audiobook to be completed. So you get to determine how much you make for that audiobook. Then, we'll say 6 months after you fulfill the campaign, it's all finished, then you go and distribute it to the various other platforms, thereby double dipping on that specific audiobook. So then you get all of the profits through Kickstarter or your crowdsourcing, and you get paid. Everything is functioning deep into the black, and it's going to be a wonderful day. And then when you go to launch it over on the various other platforms, you make even more money and get new readers. And sure, you'll make just a little less than what you did with the crowdsourced funding, but at least you are double dipping and making a little extra money. Now, this last one, number 10, this is one I'm going to say I've got some reluctance in sharing because I do believe that there's a little bit of a flaw in their system, but here we are, the ACX Bounty Program. Audiobook Creation Exchange has a bounty program where if you refer a customer over to Audible, they get a free copy of your audiobook. And if they stay signed on 30 days after their 30-day free trial, you end up getting a $75 bonus, which is pretty good considering that a lot of audiobooks aren't $75. I mean, if you're charging $75 and you're selling it for that much, fantastic. Kudos to you. But the ACX Bounty Program is the way to do it. It only hits 4 different regions, the US, UK, and a couple others. Can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's probably Germany and Italy. But either way, referring people on over there, what I would say is if you have the downloadable PDF, offer those links at the beginning of the PDF for people to check out your audiobook. Now, if you only have a single audiobook and someone purchases it, then it probably is not a good idea to recommend that they go and get that same audiobook for free. They're going to probably be a little bit upset. What I would recommend is if you have other audiobooks, then you can go ahead and refer them over to the ACX Bounty Program links and let them know they get a 30-day free trial, and you can give them full disclosure and say, hey, if you stay on for 30 days beyond that, it greatly helps support the cause. So giving full disclosure is always appreciated for sure. But you're going to want to make sure you insert that call to action in any of your audiobooks. You can even do it verbally if you want to, the narration. And make it simple. Use a redirect link for ease of sharing. So if you've got any type of QR codes that you can share, but getting some type of a link could probably be something brand specific. Let's say DaleLRoberts.com/fitness audiobook. And that would send them over to, say, the US region for the ACX Bounty Program. Again, I've got some reservations. I have not seen any success on this particular avenue, but that's not to say that there isn't some gold in them dar hills. All right, let's go ahead and start to wrap things up here. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Dibbly Create. Elevate your projects to new heights with seamless collaboration, AI-driven innovation, and creative customization. Unleash your potential today, folks. Visit my affiliate link at dalelinks.com/DibblyCreate for more of those details. Here are my final thoughts. There's no one right way to publish audiobooks here, folks. No one right way to make more money with those things. It's going to take a lot of trial and error and some creativity. And I think that if you work with other peers within your industry, they might be able to give you some additional tips that could possibly level up your audiobook earnings. The most important thing here, folks, is to publish audiobooks to increase your revenue and reach. That's it. If you don't have audiobooks yet, I just implore that you consider finding one of these particular avenues, be it even if it's just getting AI narration. Now, if you're 100% getting AI narration, I totally understand. I'm not going to fault you for that by all means, but at least try to get it to where you have some audiobook representation of your books, because then you're going to reach more readers. Hey, folks, I'm going to be taking a brief hiatus come next week. I'm going to be actually taking one entire week off. I'm going to be completing all of the Amazon advertising certification courses. So I wanted to close out my entire week and my entire calendar. But we'll be back to talk a little bit more about the world of self-publishing. In fact, we're going to be shifting gears away from audiobooks, and we're going to be moving over to talking a little bit more about that popular platform people have heard about, Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing. In fact, we're going to start it off the week after next, where we're going to be doing an Amazon KDP review. It's going to be the most comprehensive review. Until then, I will see you folks later.
You've been listening to the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast. Visit us at selfpublishingwithdale.com for more information on how you can level up your self-publishing business. Also, check out our growing video-on-demand service, chock full of free and premium content, when you head over to theselfpublishinghub.com. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a review on your preferred podcasting platform. We thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.